Howdy y'all, how are we doing today? I'm Zesty Queso and I'm back with another RS3 Leagues 2 Equilibrium Daily Reveal. Today is August 3rd and we have 3 new relics. Let's go and check out their video. Perkfection, Devout, and Rejuvenated. Grants you the Inventor's Toolbox. Teleports you to any Inventor's Workbench. Acts as an XP capacitor. Blah blah blah. Okay, Perkfection is Invention Solve. Devout Yak. Summoning familiar with 32 slots. Access bank from anywhere. Okay. Rejuvenated. Pick another relic from any previous tier. Okay. Now let's dive into them. First up, we got Devout. Grants a Devout Yak pouch and the Eternal Storage Scroll. The Devout Yak is a summoning familiar with 32 inventory slots. It can access the bank from anywhere and change items to from notes. Okay, so far this kind of looks like Banker's Note from old school. The Ethereal Storage Scroll can be used to repeat the last unnote action using the last noted item and amount. The scroll and pouch are never consumed and do not require so many points. Familiars which give you stat boosts also give 10 XP before multipliers in the respective skill when gaining XP up to every 6 seconds. Okay, so if you use like a Granite Lobster, which gives you a fishing boost every 6 seconds on an XP drop, I'm assuming, it'll give you 10 times the league multiplier in XP in that skill. So a little XP buff. Nothing huge, but definitely doesn't hurt. Summoning scrolls are no longer consumed when used. Okay, that's nice, I guess. Familiar spell point costs are reduced to 10% of their original value. Okay, that's interesting. Makes it so that you can like spam like Ripper Demon special attack a bunch. So that should be like decent damage. Familiars deal more damage based on your summon level up to 500% damage at 99 summoning. Okay. That's a lot. That's pretty big. So the thing about Ripper Demon pouches is they'll be very hard to come by this league. There's 3 very specific regions you need to take to get the Dagonby mystery, unless they decide they're gonna, auto complete that. Because of the things that you need to do that, and I don't think a lot of people are gonna want to pick those 3 exact regions. It's like Kandor and Asgarnia, Mauritania, or something. So yeah, this is interesting. I wonder what it's going to be up against. We still don't know. They haven't been necessarily revealing things together in their tiers. I'd guess somewhere in like the 5-6 region for this, because it is pretty strong. Banker's Note's always been kind of the like later mid game of like old school leagues, which this is that plus summoning benefits. Familiars might pump, so definitely something to look out for. Next up, we got Perkfection. This is a relic pretty much everyone took in the last league because it just insta-solved Invention. This time around, let me see quick. Okay. This time around, I don't think Invention's going to be super impactful. Once again, some very specific region picks you have to take to get Ancient Invention, which is where the very, very strong perks come from. And without those being super readily available, I think Invention kind of takes a bit of a back burner role in this league. But we'll go over and see what it does. Grants the Inventor Toolbox, which acts as an XP capacitor, but can store 10 times max charges and also charges 10 times faster. So that just makes it so that your items level up faster. It also has 2 Gizmo slots, which are applied in addition to any equipped perks. Okay, so you can put like Venom Blood and then something else in there. Be nice to have a couple extra perks alongside. You must be using an augmented item for these perks to be active. These can be swapped out freely. Additionally, the toolbox allows you to teleport to inventors' workbenches that are available in your unlocked areas. Okay, I guess my question to this would be, you could swap out the perks, but do you just pick from perks, or do you actually have to make the perks? I'm guessing you have to make them, in which case the ancient invention wouldn't be bypassed by that. When disassembling items, your junk chances reduce to 0%. That's nice. You'll just, even like low tier items, you'll get decent components from. Machines can be built from level 1 and run 10 times faster. Okay, trying to amp up the Asgarnia region selectors on that one. Obtain 10 times invention materials when disassembling items. We're already getting so many invention materials from the blessing passives, and then any rare components, everything's gonna be so common at 10x rates. You're gonna be able to just farm out, like, you need Iljankin components, just won't take you very long to grab 2 Dragon Rider lances and then disassemble them. Augmented items and machines consume no charge. Okay, just completely getting rid of the reason to have divine charges. If you're gonna pick this, you might look to pick a earlier relic that doesn't have one of those loot tables that give divine charges, because it just kind of be wasted. Capacity machines is increased. Helpful perks will trigger 20% more often. Does not stack with item level 20 benefit. Okay, so your perks are going to be going off a little more. Unlocks all blueprints in the Dwarven and Goblin tech tree. So like mechanized chins, old at coil, stuff like that. Okay. I think this was kind of like a must pick in the last league, because you were able to get Ancient Invention without the region locks. This league, I think it's going to be a little weaker. So depending on what it's against. Last league, I would have put it S tier. This league, I'm going to put it a little bit lower, most likely. And then we have Rejuvenated. Pretty simple, but does have some intricacies to it. You choose another relic from a previous tier. So this will probably be like a tier 5, I would guess. Maybe tier 6. Probably not that far out. Maybe like a tier 5. So then, say tier 1s, which the tier 1s are pretty strong, so you might end up doing this, but I'm not saying necessarily to do it. You say you take Survivalist, and then you're like, oh, I really want an AFK skill now. You could take Endless Harvest. So now you have Survivalist, Endless Harvest, and then, yeah. This will be up against something, so that is the trade-off. If you take Rejuvenated, you can't take what's in the tier is against, which typically, like I said, kind of a later tier, at earliest 4, and then probably 4 or 5, maybe 6. So it'll have some stiff competition, but there are some fun little combos you can do by going back. All right. That being said, we'll go down and see if we have any FAQ on this one. We do. Okay, so how does the Big Bone Blessing interact with sources of damage? That is the Gothic's Tier 1 Blessing. That gives you bonus damage based off your HP. Big Bone is intended to work with almost all player source damage. It operates when damage is applied to NPCs, similar to Vuln, but with one key difference. It must be able to identify the players responsible for that damage. This is because the effect is applied based on a buff stored on the player, whereas vulnerability works from a debuff that is applied directly to the NPC. So it would not buff familiar damage or dread nips, but it does buff conjures. Okay, that's the necromancers are eating good on that one. I think you're going to be wanting to take Big Boned. First off, because there aren't any necromancy shields, so Ceradomin 1 is useless. Zami 1's just not great. And then, yeah, the skeleton, when you command it, does so many hits. It's going to apply to every single one of those, which is going to be huge. How is Splash Zone damage calculated? I believe that is the Gothic's God tier blessing, the tier 4. It's based on the NPC's size in their config. A size 1 NPC is 1x1, 2, 2x2, and so on. So a size 5, 25 tile enemy is 25% damage. Okay, that is significantly weaker than I had originally thought. I believe the blessing reads as 5% damage per tile. Which I was assuming if you were fighting something 5x5, that's 25 tiles, that'd be 125% more damage, but that's not the case. So, size 5 monster, which I doubt any NPCs really get much bigger than that. Maybe there's some, but that'd only be a 25% damage boost on your AoE abilities. So I think Splash Zone kind of stocks down from what people originally thought. Let's go to the tier list. Okay, I mean, it's hard to say with where these are going to be. I don't really value the banker's note portion too much on that. And then, like, I don't know the. Let's go see what a Ripper Demon does for damage. Because that compared to how much buffed we're going to be, like, you have to kind of compare how much of an increase this is going to be to my damage. Which jumps in the air and strikes the next attack. 200. Okay. Occasionally chance to hit 2 or 3 times. We have a passive that increases player's damage. Scaling with percentage of the target's life points. Is there anywhere that says how much damage it does? Passive effect. Is it the max hit of 1300? And then when you use the scroll, it's 4k. I mean, so that's pretty. Remember, we're getting 5 times familiar damage. And you'll be able to use 10 scrolls before having to refresh the familiar energy. So that's 200,000 in Ripper Demon specs. That seems pretty strong, if I must say. 200,000, we're going to be doing more damage, but 200,000 is a big number. Remember, the caveat is you might have to get a little bit of lucky getting the Ripper Demons from, say, like Voidwalker, or I'm not. Did Divine Druid have pouches on a drop table somewhere? I'm not sure, but you're probably not gonna be able to make them, so you're gonna have to get lucky getting them. They do last an hour, I believe, 64 minutes, and with with this relic, you don't use up the scrolls, so you'll only have to make scrolls once. I'm gonna put this one in A tier. I think that's pretty strong as far as combat buff goes. Now, it is a little bit combat oriented, but it's also not, so I don't know if it's going to be going up against Icy and Faith. I think I would still lean Icy and Faith if those two are against each other. Perkfection, for me, I'm going C tier. We're getting so many invention materials. Rare drops are so common. You're just going to be able to get the materials you want. If you take Perkfection, you will be able to train it up to 200 mil super quick. I did that last league. I rushed to that tier, got Perkfection, instantly went 200 mil, got a bunch of points from that to continue on. I don't know. I'm never much of a reloaded / in this league it's rejuvenated fan. Depends on what comes before it, depends on what it's against. I don't think it's very interesting, so for that reason I'm putting it D tier. Trying to think if I want to put Perkfection in B or C. It is good for that point boost, right? When you hit that tier, you're going to get like another 800 points probably just from slamming out invention stuff. I won't hate on it too much. Let's give her a B. We'll slap it in B for now. That should conclude today's reveals. Down in the comments, let me know what you think of these 3 new relics. If you're super excited for any of them, what tiers you might think they're going to be in. Like, subscribe to not miss any of the future videos, and we'll see you tomorrow.